was supposed to be a routine red-eye from Seattle to Boston, the kind of overnight flight where the lights stayed dim, the engines hummed like lullabies. And most passengers drifted into uneasy sleep, except for Mark Harris. He hadn't flown in 2 years, not since the panic attack midair on a flight to Chicago. Sweating, shaking, clutching at his armrest while other passengers avoided eye contact. After extensive therapy and heavy doses of propranolol and alprazolam, tonight was meant to be his victory. "I'll be okay," he whispered to himself while boarding, one step at a time. Seat 15A, window seat, just as his therapist recommended. Control, visibility, that was the key. He fastened his belt, clenched the armrests, and stared out at the wing, slick with rain and blinking red. The plane ascended smoothly through layers of clouds. Thunderheads glowed with distant lightning. Mark loosened his grip on the seat. He tried to nap, but his eyes kept drifting to the window. That's when he saw it. A shape, no, a figure, crouched near the wing's engine cowling. At first, he thought it was a trick of shadow, maybe moisture on the window, but it moved. Mark blinked. The figure hunched like an animal, clinging with possible balance, head low, a shaggy outline against the sky. When lightning flashed again, the thing's face was pressed to the glass. It was human, but not. Wide black eyes, scabbed skin, teeth too long, and it was smiling. Mark lunged back with a strangled shout. The businessman in 12B gave him a disapproving glance and tugged his sleep mask back on. Mark turned back to the window. The wing was empty. He pressed the call button. A stewardess arrived, young, with a forced smile. "Can I help you, sir?" "There's a..." He faltered. There was someone outside. She raised an eyebrow. "On the wing." The smile became tighter. "Sir, we're at 30,000 feet. I know what I saw." "Maybe try to get some sleep," she said gently. "I'll bring you some warm water." She walked away briskly. Mark rubbed his temples. "It's happening again," he whispered. But he kept watching. And after 10 minutes, the thing came back. Its limbs crawled like an insect's, fingers clinging to metal like magnets. It opened its jaw and bit something on the wing. Wires, or a panel maybe. Sparks flew. Jesus Christ! He turned to wake the man beside him, but the man was gone. The seat belt still buckled, pillow on the seat, but empty. He checked the aisle, dark and silent. He stood heart racing and stepped into the aisle. The plane was empty. Every seat gone. Mark stumbled towards the cockpit. "Hello? Hello?" The overhead lights flickered. The soft rumble of the engines seemed off. Somehow, like something groaning beneath metal. He opened the curtain to first class. Still empty. Plastic cups on tray, half-eaten meals. No people. He ran to the cockpit door and pounded. No answer. He tried the intercom. Is anyone here? Anyone? No reply. Then he heard breathing behind him. He turned slowly. The creature stood mid-aisle, just past row 10, watching him. Its eyes reflected the emergency lights. It grinned. It stepped forward, barefoot, filthy. "Stay back!" Mark screamed, backing towards the cockpit door. The thing opened its mouth, too wide, rows of needle-sharp teeth. Its voice was a dry whisper. "You see me now." Mark slammed his fists against the cockpit. "Let me in! Help!" he shouted. The door opened, and he fell forward into blackness. When he woke up, Mark was sitting in seat 15A again. The lights were normal, engine steady. A flight attendant stood over him. "You passed out," she said. "Are you all right?" He looked around. Passengers filled every seat. The man beside him was snoring. I saw something." She tilted her head. "Bad dream." He nodded slowly. "I guess." She smiled, tucked a blanket around him, and walked off. He glanced out the window. The wing was intact. No creatures, no damage. Mark exhaled. But as the plane began its descent, something flickered at the edge of his vision. On the engine casting, a smear. No, a handprint, burned into the metal. 3 long fingers. The flight touched down without issue. Mark waited until everyone disembarked before getting up. His legs trembled. He asked to speak to the pilot. The gate agent looked confused. "You were in 15A, right?" "Yes," Mark replied. She checked her tablet. "The seat's been unassigned for 2 years." Mark frowned. "No, I checked in. I have the boarding pass." She shook her head. "That seat's locked after what happened." He froze. "What do you mean?" "Sir, I'm not supposed to." "What happened?" She leaned in, whispering. 2 years ago, Flight 711, a passenger had a breakdown. She said he saw something on the wing. He forced open the emergency door midair and got sucked out. Mark's blood ran cold. What was his name? She checked again. "Harris. Mark Harris." He staggered backwards. "But that's me." She stared at him. "Sir, you need to leave the gate area." He turned, dazed, walked through the terminal like a ghost. In the window's reflection, something moved behind him. A shape, a smile, watching. That night, Mark checked into a hotel near the airport. He barely remembered the cab ride. He found the boarding pass in his jacket pocket. Seat 15A. He called the airline. No record of that flight, they said. "We've had no red-eye from Seattle to Boston since 2023. And he was in 2025. The date matched, but no flight 711. He didn't sleep. He returned to the airport next morning. Sat in the food court, watched the screens, no flight 711. He walked to the security checkpoint. The same agent from the gate was there. She looked at him and paled. "You're not supposed to be here," she whispered. "Tell me what's going on," Mark said. "You shouldn't have come back." He reached for her, but his hand passed through hers like the mist. The world shimmered, the terminal dissolved, and he was back on the plane, seat 15A. Alone. The wing flickered in stormlight. The creature waited, grinding forever. If you enjoyed the video, like and share the video.